Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. So we are fresh in to the new week here, and we're going to check Blackwood, see what he has here. Looks like he's got some goodies. I went ahead and snagged a few things before we started the video. And typical stuff up in the seasonal, hasn't anything new coming there. So we're looking at the time limited. He does now have most of the furniture he's carried throughout the first season of the game here in year 2. And now it seems like he's got pretty much everything in there. The only thing I did not see is the battle bark, or the bark blueprint. You have the brig, you have the battle junk, and the Garuda now. Divine Thunder is back, so if you've been looking for that, that's a great place to get it. If you're wondering how to get Kupfer, stick around in the video. We're going to go over that. I'm also going to show you how to get those ascension points and stuff to be able to take up your next upgrade. So, a couple things. This is for you new players. I've been asked quite a bit, what is the best weapon in the game for someone just coming into the game? Well, the reason I don't recommend some things that are good weapons, don't get me wrong. The reason I don't recommend things like the Fire Bombard, the Zama 3s and things like that is you have to get those blueprints from Unita. And that's going to require you to grind out pieces of 8. So while it is important to grind out the 8s as soon as you possibly can, understand you're looking at some pretty expensive prices when it comes to some of this stuff. We're going to try to look at what some of that costs real quick, and let's find where we're at here, guys. So a Zama 3 is 1850 pieces of 8. That's quite a grind, okay? If you're running the Fangs of Farah, which pays about 100 pieces of 8, 150, somewhere around there, you're looking at having to grind around 15, 16 runs of those ships. You know, you're going to have to destroy those about 16, 17 times. And then you got to come up with a lot of materials that you're going to need, the rubber precision drilling bits and things like that, just to build those. And then to be able to upgrade them as well. Same thing with the Fire Bombard 3. That's why I've always recommended the Bombard 5s, okay? Now, it was recently discussed about which weapon is worth upgrading and which weapon is worth getting into first. And I'm going to show you the reason why I stick behind the Bombard 5 here. And that's not talking crap about the Fire Bombard 3, because I use those for a very long time, okay? So Bombard 5 has a base damage of 4,083. You have 4,182 on a Fire Bombard 3. Okay, now, where it starts to get a little tricky is the Fire Bombard 3 on the very first upgrade is going to cost you 3 to 4 Ascension modules, whereas a Fire Bombard 5 is going to cost you 2 Ascension modules. Now, you may be going, well, how do I get those Ascension modules? Well, I'm going to show you that real quick. Right now in this tier, because there is an event running called the Honor List, if you watch the map at these purple bells, you're going to see where people are running this and they're calling for help. Even if they're not calling for help, you're going to see something that looks like a helm wheel, a steering wheel. As soon as they pop the event, you want to fast travel over there and you want to go ahead and get a shot in on the main boss. Okay, that's going to award you a chest. Now, you do have to survive to the end, so try to, stay outside some of the battle area. I don't recommend a pot for you new guys. I do recommend the Missouri if that event pops up. It's pretty easy to take out, but you want to run that. Now, there's a couple events for those of you who have ranked yourselves up a little bit. You've been playing this ship for a couple weeks, and like I said, you can grow into a Bombard 5 a lot cheaper than you can a Fire Bombard 3. And if you come over to the Hunter Hunted area, run him, and you're going to, just right off the coast of him, right here off the side here, you're going to queue up a honorless event. Okay, what that means is you're going to have a ambush. They're going to ambush you, and there'll be 4 ships there here in tier 1. You're going to want to sink those ships. That's going to give you 5 buoys that you can apply toward summoning a boss. Now, it takes 10 buoys to call a boss in. If you go to Unita, you're going to see some missions there. She's going to have 2 daily missions and an hourly mission. The hourly mission, obviously, you run every hour. The daily mission, you might not be able to do the trio by yourself, but you definitely want to pick up the trio and join in those events. So those missions will show up here. Right now, like I say, I ran the dailies already. So we have an hourly that sink 5 campaigning ships and sink 5 DMC ships. Well, where do you find those at? I'm going to show you the easiest way. You're just going to travel right straight down here to Garande, and you're going to want to come and queue this this base up and run a plunder. That's going to give you the 5 ships that you need from the Campaigning Royale. Then I would just come back over here to St. Anne and fast travel down here to Grand Fillets. And what you're going to do is you're going to start grinding out some of these DMC ships that are here. Just start sinking them, because you're going to start getting these paintings. You're going to get plate glass, you're going to get rubber and all kinds of different things, like the paintings on this line trip up here. And you can take a lot of those items. I would save the rubber, but I would take those paintings and any brandy you get and bring those over to Ka Mangrove right here in the Africa area, South Africa here, the southern plains of Africa. Sell that stuff here. That's going to give you a lot of pieces of 8. That way you can then buy that Bombard 5. Now, if you're brand new to the game, you need to focus on following the mission lines to begin with, guys, because that's going to be giving you different weapons to play around with. You're not going to come in here on day 1 in the first hour and go jump into Grand Fillet Southern Basin and start farming out DMC ships. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, there's no quick way. This is a grindy game. It takes a little bit of grinding here. But like I say, you're going to get an honorless encounter here for those of you who've got where you can run those just off the Hunter Hunted. You're going to be able to pick up an honorless encounter right here in Western Basin. And again, as you destroy those ambushes, you're going to get 5 buoys per ambush. Once you complete that ambush, it's going to give you 5 buoys, which gives you enough to summon a boss. And then there's going to be another encounter right over here, which if you come in at the Oubliette and just come straight south here, try not to activate the shark that's down here. You're going to come just off to the side, just off here to the west side of where the shark's at. That's going to trigger another honorless event here, right around in this territory, right in here. So that's where you're going to pick those 3 up. There's probably more in the game, but those are the 3 that I add to my grind. What I typically do is I run Fangs of Fire. This gives you around 10 to 15 Kupfer bars, okay? It's also going to give you between 130 to 140 of the pieces 8 here in Tier 1. Then you're going to run Hunter Hunted. These are level 4s and 5s for those of you who are new. So you're going to be able to start grinding out some of those pieces of 8. If you decide to go with the Fire Bombard 3, hey, that's a great weapon. I'm not going to knock it down. Like I said, we used it for a long time. I'm just looking at long-term growth, what it is that you use when it comes to a Fire Bombard versus a Bombard 5. Here's why I do recommend the Bombard 5s, because you don't want to be spending ascension points and spending your upgrade parts on something that you're not going to use later in the game. Okay, so the best weapon in the game right now is the Bombard 5. In my opinion, I use it on quite a few things. And if we look at, let's go ahead and bring up here, we have a base of 7125 with this weapon. Now, if we go down here to a Fire Bombard 3, it would be a base of 6509 for a fully ascended Fire Bombard 3. Show you that again. 7125. You're going to be about the same amount of rolls and about the same amount of ascensions without the extra parts, the rare parts it takes to upgrade a Fire Bombard 3. Now, you're going to have to grow into all of them. You're not going to be able to come in and jump straight into a Fire Bombard 5 or any other type of weapon fully ascended, grinding on your own. Now, if that's something that you're looking for some team play, look down in the comments, guys. There's going to be a link in there, and if the link is expired when you click on it, because sometimes it'll be a week or two before people see these videos, make sure that you comment down below. So, hey, link's expired. Can you kick me a new link, and I'll get you a link so you can join the Discord that I roll with. These guys are great over here. There's a lot of folks that help new players to get you in, to get you grinding and stuff like that. We all get together on weekends and have massive server raids. And typically most of the people that come out of here end up coming out with a higher level ship than when you came in, and you end up with a fully ascended set of weapons just from farming with us for, you know, a Friday night or Saturday night. If you do both nights, chances are you're going to be able to come out of this thing with a fully ascended ship. So just giving you some advice. Don't spend your hard-earned currency on something that's going to get nerfed. There was some comments about a guy, and I felt so bad for him, man. He'd spent everything he ground on a Garuda and the Lepes 3s. Now, there was several video content makers going out there talking about how it was the above all, end all, wonderful ship and weapons in the game, and therefore a very short window, it was very OP. But like anything in this game, whenever you start looking at things like Lepest 3s or any kind of Divine Thunders or any of the main weapon lines, purples, and even some of the blues, especially the purples, what ends up happening is they get nerfed. And anytime you have a ship that has a really OP perk to it, it ends up getting nerfed, so it brings it back down into a spec realm of something that's going to be a little more usable for everybody, where it's not going to be just a one ship type of a game. And that's just the way it is in this game, guys. So that's why if you take and you look at these white weapons, they do not seem like they're real impressive coming into it, but they end up being some of the best weapons in the game, in my opinion. When you're looking at a Bombard 5 or even a Long Gun 5, these weapons can be made into some monstrous DPS builds. And just anything that you can find in the game, whether it's a fire bombard or even an electric cannon, or any of the like long guns for Skurlock long 9s and things like that. These are some really cool things that you can end up building some serious weapons just using the base white weapons, and you don't have to worry about them getting nerfed like the other stuff. So like Skurlock long 9s, we've seen them get nerfed. We've seen the Divine Thunders get nerfed. We've seen those Lepest 3s, which are available not just through Blackwood, but if you come over in World Tier 2, now you're not going to be able to access World Tier 2 unless someone in that level invites you or you've got a level 12 ship. Understand that. You're not going to get there until you can do that. You're not going to be able to beat the boss to open it. So Grand Fort in World Tier 2, if you start farming that, it's going to call in a bunch of Lepest ships. They're going to be the Prince ships, and they shoot mad poison all over the bay. But when you sink those ships, you will either get a poison Lepest 2 or a Lepest 3 cannon. So that's what you're looking at, guys. That's where you get those, or you can buy them from Blackwood. I don't recommend them. They're great for PvP. The smoke damage that they do, as far as the poison damage, the ships in the game, it doesn't affect them the way it affects a player. Understand that. The NPC ships, those are a PvP weapon. Unless you're planning on running a lot of PvP, I don't recommend those weapons. That's just me. They've been nerfed so much, I wouldn't worry about it. Now, where to get cup for bars? Get asked that a lot. If you run those auto-release vents we were talking about, that's going to give you cup for. These will give you cup for as well. You can pick up 10 cup for bars a piece running these Hunter Hunted and things like that, Fangs and Afara. And as you start to rank up, get your level 8 ships and things, and level 10 ships, you can come over here and run Treacherous Turn, and then you can run this Show of Strength as well. But a great place to get it is you can run missions from Blackwood. And as you can see, there's a rank level here. It's going to tell you what a rank level is required or recommended. It's a record of 10. Looks like you need an 8. You're going to get 10 cup for here. I'd just go over and I'd go hit Fangs of Fire every 4 minutes is how long it takes them to respawn after you destroy them. And you're going to be picking that up just as easily. And this is a level 8 where that's a level 4. So up to you. But you can run that and add that one to it as well. And then, of course, you're going to have a mission over here from the blacksmith. And there's more missions in this, guys, in the game. But I'm just showing you the easy ones to get to. And I believe it is, let's find it here. Here we go. Ascended Dispatch. Once you can take this level 9 out, you're going to be getting 25 cup for bars. And these are repeatable, meaning once you turn them in, you can usually turn around pretty quick and repeat that mission again. So something you want to do here. Now, this is where you got to go and steal riches and ascended materials from a DMC convoy from Houston. So these are going to be ascended materials, mind you. So you're going to get some ascension parts and things like that probably from that as well. Something that's going to be required when you ascend some weapons. So those are some things you can look at. And while we're here, let's go ahead and show you this too. So, look. Okay, so let's go to ascend. Now, to ascend a Bombard 5, again, we're going to show you this here. Let's find, I believe we got one over here. Okay, to ascend it one time on a Bombard 5, you're looking at needing 2 ascension modules. And you might get lucky and roll something like a combust, I would actually change this to a percentage thing or something like that. But we just went with 1 ascension, and it ended up bringing that weapon up to a 3898. Now, if we could go over here to a Fire Bombard 3, let's see if we got one that's only got 1 ascension point on here. Yeah, so this one here is the 3992. But you're looking at quite a bit more to ascend to the next level. So you're now looking at needing 4 ascension modules. You're going to need 2 naphtha and 5 line to take this up another level. Okay? But if we go with the Bombard 5 and we go for that second one, you only need 3 ascension modules and 3 screw mechanisms, which are really easy to come by. You're probably going to drop them when you're getting your paintings over there farming those DMC ships. So that's going to take that up to a next level. Let's go ahead and see what the next upgrade slot is going to be. Okay, so that gave us an increase of firepower. You know, we'll just roll with that. Now we're looking at 5 ascension modules, 2 torsion springs, and 3 cogwheels. Again, torsion springs, cogwheels come very easily. There's nothing to them. You can buy those from some of the DMC forts if you want to go over there and buy some for silver. You may be wondering where do you get those? Well, you just got to take and go to your map and hover over your forts, and it tells you the things that you can buy from a lot of this stuff. It's going to show you things that you can grind from a lot of these things, and typically if you can get it from a drop, you can buy it from them as well, just so you're aware. Now you can get upgrade parts by running some of these. Now you're not going to come run Fort Premi at a new level, guys. That's why I show you the easy stuff. Now if you take Fort Premi, then ignore all the other stuff and just run Premi and Houston, guys. But for the new players, I do recommend, you know, you try to look for manufacturer buyouts. You look for the solo takeovers. That's going to give you some pieces of 8 as well. Even the hostile PvP takeovers. Very rarely do you run across other people in those, and they only pay $450 to me because I've completely maxed out these forts. I can no longer bump my level up by running one of these, which if you're a level 1 through 3 coming, you know, up a level, it'll pay 900 pieces of 8 instead of 450. But this is a great way to get pieces of 8 if it's a territory you already earned. You can run defenses. That's going to pay you 450 pieces of 8 on those as well. So those are some great ways to do it. If you get those cutthroat cargoes, they'll look like a little red circle with a skull in it. They usually start right around this area here typically. And you can run those. You're going to get around 500 pieces of 8 and 500 cut for bars. Those are a great avenue. They are PvP. It'll be you and one other person. If somebody joins you, very rarely do people actually join you. Again, picking up the contracts over here from Lenitra when it comes to things like the Reaver's Revenge, the Undying Maul, or there's another shark over here, and then of course there's a shark that pops right in here as well that you're going to be able to pick the contract, the Megalostari. If you run those, you're going to get anywhere from 500 to 800 pieces of 8, plus you're going to pick up around 50 cut for bars running those missions and then turning them into the nature. Now, it is a every 24-hour mission. It's not something you're going to be able to I mean, you can run those missions as many times as you want, but for that main payout, it's every 24 hours. It's something to be aware of. Whereas we used to be able to come over and just pick up all the contracts and it would let you do that. Now it lets you pick them up one at a time. You have to then come back and turn it in when you complete it. Now, as you can see, this will still reward a gold chest, even though I've already completed it for the 24-hour period. But I'm no longer getting the pieces of 8. So, like I said, every 24 hours you can run this mission and get 500. I think it's 500 pieces of 8 here on the Lestari and 800 on Zamaharabu, or that may be flopped the other way. You know, I forget exactly, but you're going to pick up some 8s there as well, plus those cut for bars, guys. So make sure that you're picking those up as you can. So I hope that gives you some ideas of where to get those things, those Ascension modules and stuff. And again, picking up the hourly spring cleaning over there at Unita. This is so you can destroy those DMC ships and campaigning ships. That awards you with 10 buoys. You can run those honorless events as well on the map. That's going to complete, like I say, she has 3 missions. One of them is to defeat a fleet, whether it's the Missouri, a POC, or DNC or one of those. See, here's that wheel I was telling you about. When you see that wheel, that means someone has popped it, and all you have to do is fast travel over and get a shot in on it, and you're going to be able to get that reward. That's going to give you some of those bloody doubloons that you see, and you're going to be able to pick up those chests. And I recommend that you pick up the chest to get those ascension modules. Now, you may be tempted to say, you know, I want to save up and get the 1,000 pieces of bloody doubloons so I can get the weapons. A lot of these, especially right here, are going to pay that. So I was running this with the leader of the Discord, Why So Serious, today, and he ended up getting like I think a Divine Wind and a Climb, just off 2 runs. And that was the first 2 runs when we was down there playing around with it. I've picked up Divine Winds over here. I've picked up Climbs over here. Now, in World Tier 2, those weapons, when you pick them up, they'll already have 1 or 2 ascension points on those. They're not ascended over here. But you can pick them up for free if you grind these enough or get involved in enough of them. And again, like I say, if you get the buoys, when you come out and you pop the buoy, you're going to scope them out with your, just zoom in on them and ask for help. And the entire server is going to come over because everyone is trying to get those doubloons right now. If you want to double your doubloons, and this is something we're going to close the video out on. If you want to double the doubloons and cut down on the amount of grind time that you have to put in, guys, you can come over here to Blackwood, and you're going to come over. He's got this thing called Tooling's Favors. There it is. Use Tooling Favor, and it is called Seasonal Spoil. You use one of those. You should have several of them if you've completed a pass. You use one of these, and for 3 hours, you're going to make double the bloody doubloons for that 3-hour period. So you're going to be able to come up over here. Like I say, I come over and I buy these chests 5 at a time. Get your stuff. It's going to cost you 750 bloody doubloons to buy 5 chests, just so you're aware. And you can do that every hour. You can buy if you need it. So every hour you got time to grind those as long as people are running. Each chest is going to pay, it's like 6 upgrade parts, 3 ascension modules. So you buy enough of these, you can now upgrade your fire bombards. The easiest way to get these, get a shot in on some of those currencies. If you're leveled up where you can run them yourself, get the free buoys by running her missions. If you aren't leveled up, just watch on the map for folks to pop in. You're going to be earning those bloody doubloons, guys. You're going to be able to earn those. You'll tell when the buoy's active because you will see the ship traveling around here. Okay? That's how you're going to determine that, guys. There's someone who's actually triggered this one off and they're running it. It's a level 11 event there. This one here is a level 13. And of course, the easiest level currently is the level 9 Armless Missouri. And it gets popped quite a bit, so just keep an eye on it. This one, usually, if you get a free weapon, it's going to be a Klein, and it's going to be in the bloody strong box, the gold box. This one here, typically I end up getting a Divine Wind out of, or a fusing station, which is a great piece of furniture, by the way. This one here, you can get anything. I mean, it's possible to get a Divine Wind or a Klein's or even the furniture. So, like I say, it's not a guarantee you're going to get it in those gold boxes, but you can potentially get those from there. So don't spend your money on that. Spend it on those boxes I was telling you about. That's going to get you your Bombard 5s ground up. Now, if you don't, or if you're new to the game, you don't have a lot of silver, obviously you're going to need to grind that stuff out. And you can grind that out, like I say, with those DMC ships. A great way to get pieces of 8 if you would rather get a Fire Bombard 3. There's nothing wrong with them. They're a great weapon. They don't upgrade as high as a Bombard 5, but you're going to have to grind the pieces of 8 out of Fangs of Farah and Hunter Hunted. Like I say, these are level 4 and 5s. They pay the same amount of pieces of 8 as the Treacherous Turn, which is a level 8, and Show of Strength, which is a level 10, I believe. Yep. And you're going to earn the same amount there. Now, what you're not going to be able to do is run those at a level 3, but you run these with some friends. Once you hit levels 4 or 5, you can hit that pretty quick. You'll be able to take these things out. In fact, in a Badar, you can ram a lot of these and defeat them in like 3 or 4 rams, just ramming it. So something to keep in mind. But I do recommend using something a little more powerful than a Badar. In fact, I would recommend, if you're just new to the game and you've not gotten into a large ship yet, your first ship I would recommend getting is the sloop. The reason I do recommend the sloop because it does great weapons damage with explosive weapons, and a lot of the weapons you get early on in the game are going to be explosive weapons. You can find a lot of great weapons, tier 1s and tier 2s, by grinding around St. Anne, which is really where you're going to be at for the first part of this game anyway, is grinding the early missions into this stuff, trying to get into a larger ship. But I'll show you where our sloop is at here. So like I said, this is explosive weaponry. Gets these little buffs and stuff to it, 50% chance of triggering explosives, which deals 1500 damages. But if you prefer fire weapons, then of course you would go with the barge class, the firebrand ship. This has wildfire perk on there, which is for 125 meter radius. You're going to increase weapon damage by 35% as well, and you're going to send a blaze charge with it as well. So you're going to be doing some serious damage with this as well. These two ships I highly recommend. Your first thing you're going to be wanting to get, they go like, oh well, the tank is what almost everybody goes to. I recommend skipping past it and go with the barge or the sloop, guys. Now if you're traveling in teams, it doesn't hurt to have a sentinel or a cutter class in here, because this is going to be one of those things that help as a support ship. You'll be able to do some heals and things as well as with your team. This is a great ramming ship. I'm not going, they're all great ships, but this is a great ramming ship, and I use it quite a bit now, even today, just playing around. So, but I hope that gives you some ideas and stuff, folks. So you may be wondering how to get through the pass. If you follow those tips and advice, that's going to be completing a lot of things. But also, if you look at your pass items here, guys, go and bring that up real quick. You have challenges that you can run. They have weekly challenges. Now, the weekly challenges, they do not complete really fast. They don't pay what they used to pay. You get 500 SP, which is halfway to 1 smuggler point, by the way, for completing 4 challenges. If you complete 10 plunders, you can get 500 SP. Plunders are pretty easy to do. Then, of course, you have seasonal things that you can do. Now, I don't bother focusing on these, but it's some things where I've already got 23 of 30 completed. That wasn't even me trying to do those. These pay the best, convoys and things like that. But typically what I recommend is if all you can take out is a tower, or run these low-level plunders around here, then run them. Run that stuff. Run the crap out of them. Just farm it. I mean, that's what any of these types of games are, is just grinding everything that you can grind. Running, anywhere that you can run, anything you can do, you want to grind that stuff out. You're not going to be able to come over and solo these sea monsters at a very beginning level. Just being honest with you guys, you're not going to come over here and jump on a POC or even a Missouri at a new level. You're not even going to be able to come in here on the day 1 and jump straight on the Fangs of Farah within the first 5 minutes of playing the game. You're going to have to follow the early mission lines, which is going to be through Skurlock, and your blacksmith, and then of course you're going to have a shipwright and the carpenter over here, and you're going to have to run those missions and stick to the main course until you start grinding a lot of that stuff. Of course, there's another option, like I say, joining in the Discord group. But at some point, you're going to have to come in and start running some of this stuff, because these things are locked behind rank, a lot of your great weapons and things that's out there. So there's a lot of people that use the Royal Custodian armor that comes out of the convoys that you can get. And back in the day, a lot of folks wanted to get the Black Prince armor, and it was locked behind a Kingpin rank. Now, I don't know what's locked behind Kingpin anymore. It seemed like there was a time when the Ouroboros armor was locked behind. You had to be a Kingpin to use it, or for us to even give it to you. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Like I say, a lot changes within a year. The game's modified quite a bit since the beginning of Season 1, as many of you have discovered here in Year 2. Season 1 has changed quite a bit in Year 2 as well, compared to what it was last year, so or even at the beginning of the season. So as you can see, the game changes quite a bit, it evolves quite a bit. But if you're new to the game, you're going to want to stick to those main storylines, and as soon as you can, start farming. If all you can do is Fangs of the Far, once you complete it, it takes about 4 to 5 minutes for it to reset. Grind it again. And every time you run that, you're going to end up getting some materials. You're going to get sinew strain. You're going to get a silver pouch that's got some silver in it. You're going to get this Tangier Rahab's head. You're going to be able to turn that in. And again, that's going to give you some silver as well. It's going to tell you where to turn that in at. And it seems like he's a Sea People person, so you'll probably end up turning it in over here like Palisade Bay or something like that. You're just turning in, or Canby Foundry. Any of the Sea People locations, you can turn that head in, and you're going to get a reward for that. And then, of course, if you're running Hunter Hunted, you're going to be able to take that head there to the iguana-controlled waters and stuff. It seems like he is... It seems like you turn him in over at the Campani Royale, if I'm not mistaken. I forget. It'll tell you once you defeat him. He's level 5, again, pieces 8. And the more of these that you can run, the quicker you're going to be able to get your rank, and the quicker you're going to be able to get into those other weapons. Now, I don't know if Unita, as I say, in the past, I don't know if she's now allowing you to buy stuff from her until you reach Kingpin rank. I don't know. I know there was a guy that was talking about apparently he could go to Unita, but he could not actually access the store, okay, for the honorless event here. He was able to jump in and get some of the honorless points, but he's not able to actually get into the black market and access the honorless tier weapons here because he was not a kingpin. So that's something that means that you're not going to be able to buy the ascension chest or any of that stuff yet. So it is, some of this stuff is locked behind ranks. So you need to understand that. There's not going to be just come in today and be able to knock the stuff out. Now, quick ways to get rank: farming with teams, farming with the Banished Souls Discord. Again, check down in the comments for that invite, guys. Those guys will get you up into a rank very quickly. I know we got like some of our moderators like Desert Rat, and some of these guys are really grinding out, getting a lot of new people in, helping them get to rank and stuff. And I recommend, I would recommend the group if I didn't believe in the folks there. They do a great job. I've been with them since the beginning of Skull and Bones, and it's been great, having a dedicated team of folks to play with. So like I say, make sure if the invite link is expired, let me know and we'll get you that invite. We'll catch everybody later. Have a wonderful day.